Welcome to Research Talk. I hope you are enjoying our journey together on reliability and validity in research. In the past few videos, we have been talking about what is reliability in research and what are different types of reliabilities. Also, we talked about validity and different types of validities that we use in research. Now so the concept of reliability and validity these two terms are used in the context of quantitative research. So if you read a quantitative paper, a research article, you will see that the term reliability and validity are often used. If you are reading a questionnaire, a manual of a questionnaire, a scale, then you will hear these terms very often talking about reliability and validity of those tests. So in quantitative research, we use these terms very often to convey the rigor of the research process and overall research product. When it comes to qualitative research, so when we talk about qualitative research, we do not use these terms of reliability and validity. We use a separate term, which is trustworthiness. So in quantitative study, to denote, to refer, to describe the rigor of the study, we use the terms reliability and validity. In qualitative studies, we use the word trustworthiness and we do not use reliability and validity. Why do we do so? The reason we do that because the process and the philosophical stance, philosophical approach that we use in qualitative research is very different from how we do that in quantitative study. If you remember, in quantitative studies, the researcher maintained an objective sort of distanced approach from their research participants. So as a researcher, when I'm conducting quantitative studies, I am not very much engaged with the research participants. And it is done to maintain the objectivity in the process. In qualitative research, this is very different. In qualitative research, the philosophy behind qualitative research is knowledge is not lying anywhere outside that you go and uncover that. As a qualitative researcher, we believe that knowledge is generated in the process of engagement between research participant and the researcher. So the researcher is very engaged with the research participant in the process of data analysis and data collection. So that is why the rigor in qualitative studies is very different. And that is why qualitative researchers avoid using the term reliability and validity. When it comes to talking about or describing the rigor in a qualitative research, we use the term trustworthiness. So whenever you read this word, just understand that we are talking about reliability and validity in qualitative research. So that's what trustworthiness is. Now, we are going to start our journey together talking about trustworthiness in qualitative research. What are the steps? What are some methods that qualitative researchers use when it comes to ensuring high level of rigor in qualitative research? So let's talk about the first method that a qualitative researcher uses to ensure high level of trustworthiness in the process of conducting the study. So the first method, which is very popular in qualitative research to ensure high level of trustworthiness, we call it member checking. Another term which is used for this method, we call it a respondent validation. Member checking or respondent validation. What is member checking? In qualitative research, as we collect data and start analyzing the data and we come up with our findings, we want to make sure that me as a researcher, my interpretation of the data, so be it interview data, observation data, I want to make sure that my interpretation of what my research participant has shared is accurate, and I'm not making an interpretation which is different from what is the experience of my research participant. So I want to make sure if somebody tells me something, I'm doing the right interpretation of what this research participant has done. So what we do after our initial data analysis, whatever themes, whatever initial findings which are emerging, I note down those initial findings, and then I go back to my research participant and ask, like, this is how we have interpreted what you have shared with us. This is what the initial findings are emerging from the data, from the interview. Now, we share this with the research participant and we ask the research participant, do you agree with our interpretation? Do you think we are doing the right interpretation that you meant, or we are making a mistake here? And then based on the research participant feedback, if the research participant says that, no, you got it exactly right, this is what exactly I meant, so in that case, we don't need to make any changes. However, if a research participant says, yeah, you got it right, but here, I didn't mean that. So based on the feedback of the research participant, we as qualitative researcher make changes in the data, in our initial interpretation or in the findings. And we call this process member checking or respondent validation, because we are seeking validation from the research participant to ensure that our interpretation is correct and aligned with what the participant meant and wanted to share. And this is a very common practice that I won't say that all qualitative researchers do, but it's a very good practice to ensure that our interpretation is aligned with what the participant meant and what they wanted to share. So this is about member checking. If you are doing a qualitative research, you can adopt this method to ensure high level of trustworthiness in your qualitative research. I'll see you again in another video talking about some other methods of how to ensure high level of trustworthiness in qualitative research. And remember, before we wrap up, whenever we use the word trustworthiness, it's the same. However, we don't use the same language that quantitative researchers use. So instead of using reliability and validity, we call it trustworthiness. All right, I'll see you again. Thank you.